Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna be doing What If Deku Was Deadshot Part 3. And last video, not last part, that's what I meant to say. Last part, I gave you guys an idea. What new bullet should Deku have? And I scrolled through the suggestions, and I found this interesting one. I can't remember the guy who suggested it, but he said a black hole bullet. Now this bullet, it's basically what it does when it comes in contact with someone after being fired. It basically makes a mini black hole, that's the word, yeah. Like, nothing too big to, like, suck up a whole planet, but it's small enough to where it could. It's basically a one-shot kill bullet. Like, even though the tankiest defenses, it's basically, if it pierces the skin, it's basically forms a black hole inside you, eating you out from the inside. And he only gets one of them, because they didn't have the technology to replicate, so he only has one. And that's for a special occasion later on in the story. But if I'm correct, I left off in the story itself. I left off right before the internships. So, Deku gets the most internships out of everyone because people think his quirk is unique. Let's say before Deku goes to his internships, let's say All Might pulls him off to the side. And, yeah. And basically, he wants Deku to be his successor. And, he basically explains his injury all for one and one for all. And when All Might brings the concept up of passing his quirk on to Deku, Deku's like, I don't know. He honestly doesn't know if he wants it or not. And that's what I'm gonna leave up to you guys. If you want Deku to have one for all, just comment it. But, he's looking through his internships. And, he's looking through them. And let's say Deku overheard Ida's phone call about his brother and his dumb plan to go fight the hero killer, thinking that he can take him on, which he can't. Because, you know, he beat his older brother, the person with more experience and probably better handle over his quirk. Idiot. But, yeah. So, basically, let's say he goes to a similar agency. It's manuals. It's not the exact agency, but it's an agency inside of Hosu. And the guy there, the hero that runs the agency, he's like, I can't really teach anything, so you can just go do you. So Deku's doing patrol. He's all suited up. He's got the new gear. And he's just patrolling. And if I'm not correct, his quirk is called Hunter, and I gave him a radar. Part of his quirk. And right before the attack happens, he looks on his radar. And he sees, like, these red dots, which represent enemies, but they're kind of faded out. Like, faded. And then all the Nomus start popping in. And, Deku sees this. He takes out his rifle, and Endeavor's already handling one, so he's like, Deku's like, I'll leave that one to him. Deku loads in a bullet, an armor-piercing bullet, because why not? And he takes out 2 Nomus, both headshots. And, let's say he's running off building to building. And, on his radar, it shows a red dot over a blue dot. And a blue dot basically represents a friendly. And he basically goes to that location, and he's right above the alley as Stan's about to, shove a sword through Ida's head. Deku, with his gauntlet, he shoots the sword, shattering it. And Stan looks up to see where the heck that shot came from. And Deku drops down. Stan's like, "It's you, deadshot." And let's say Deku has run into Stan in the past before, while he was still doing his vigilante work. Deku's like, "You ready for round 2? And Stan's like, "Ready as I'll ever be." And they both rush at each other, and Deku firing bullets. And these are live rounds, these are not rubber bullets. Basically every knife blade and sword Stan pulls out, Deku just shoots the blades out of his hands, breaking the blade. And then Deku understands, like, just down to a blade now. Just a sword, not a sword, a freaking knife. He runs at Deku. What Deku does, he shoots the ground. The two bullets bounce off the walls of the alleyway and go straight through his knees. Basically, Deku just shot Stan in the knees, making him immovable. Then he switches in his gauntlets to rubber bullets and knocks him out with that. Then he puts Native, I think his name is, over his shoulder, and he drags Ida out. And he carries Stan out there too. And Ida's mad at him because he's like, "That was my fight. That was my revenge." He's like, "That was my fight. I was supposed to take down a hero killer." And then Deku just walks up to him and backhands him, slapping him, because Deku's like, "Are you that stupid?" Then all the pros show up. Deku gets most of the credit for, beating Stan and saving a pro hero and a hero in training. And then, basically he gets some more credit to his reputation. In the they get back from their internships, and now the final exam, and I'm gonna do this one a little different. Basically, where the final exam is taking place, it's basically a big city, and basically it's Deku versus 1A, 1B, and some of the teachers. Let's say All Might, Eraserhead, and Nezu are the teachers that help the students, and everyone else is just watching. Basically, if the students get taken out by Deku before basically if they get taken out by Deku, they're eliminated. But if they can restrain Deku, then they win. So basically, Deku is perched upon a building waiting for him. And 1B doesn't really come up with a plan because it's 1B. They don't think much. And Deku sees this, and Deku's like, "Man, I feel bad for what I'm about to do." And what Deku does, he puts a rubber round into his rifle, and what he does, he takes out the entirety of 1B with one shot, because that's how good he is. let's say Monoma was like ranting on how like no way one person could just beat all of us, and as soon as he says that, he catches a rubber bullet to the throat, and then he slowly took out 1B. Ow! Picking them off one by one by one. Sometimes getting 2 for ones. Was just, and 1B was eliminated. And then Deku's like thinking to himself, okay. And Deku's like, I need to come up with a plan that can override Principal Nizu's plan. So basically what his plan is to go for the big guns first. So he sees All Might, and he lines up a shot, and he takes it, shooting All Might in the back of the head with a rubber bullet, knocking him out. And let's say Bakugo, Kirishima, and Todoroki go out on their own because Bakugo thinks, oh, I'm greater than everyone, and then Todoroki's still like, no one's better than me, and Kirishima just follows Bakugo. And as soon as they leave the group, well, Kirishima gets taken out, then Bakugo gets taken out, and then, you know, then, what's his face? Todoroki gets taken out. And he slowly picks off 1A, leaving, let's say, Tokoyami, Jiro, and Uraraka. And Kaminari, let's say. Those are the left of 1A. And the biggest challenge for Deku during this exam was definitely Eraserhead. Definitely Aizawa. Because Aizawa usually works how Deku works. Staying in the shadows, not trying to be noticed. Now let's say Deku actually tries to sneak up on Aizawa, trying to knock him out. You know, hit him in the back of the head with a rifle. It almost works. But then Aizawa notices him, tries to wrap him up. Deku puts his rifle on his back and pops out his knife and cuts up Aizawa's scarf thing. And they start going at it. It's a very tough fight on both sides. But in the end, Deku does take out Aizawa. And Deku does somehow sneak up on Nezu, knocking him out. Gently, of course, because it's Nezu. But it was difficult giving to him because, you know, it's Nezu. He's very smart. And basically, he comes back around to the 4 remaining of 1A. He takes out Jiro, then he takes out Kaminari. And let's say Uraraka actually does float him up in the air, but that doesn't really do anything because he just lines up a shot to knock her out, dropping him. And then let's say it's a tough battle between Tokoyami and Deku, because Deku kind of has these like flashbang bullets. So basically, when they come in contact after being shot, they work like a flashbang. But let's say Dark Shadow is a little bit more trained. Tokoyami is a little bit more trained. So Dark Shadow's a little bit better against light. So it's an intense fight. And Tokoyami somehow restrains Deku. Tokoyami being the only one that passed this exam, which is very sad. And that's where I'm gonna leave this part off, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next part. Peace.